Ekanwaro ndini Ganyamatopé. Welcome everyone to the People's Global Summit, where we are co-building a new eco-social world together and we're leaving no one behind. I'm so honored to be part of this. I spoke in my father tongue, let's say, to open, just to show that there are many languages, of course. We all share so many languages together. I think it's one of the things that connects us. I am today very excited to be here. I used my name Ganyamatopé, that's my ancestral name, but I will tell you my formal name, the one that goes on the forms. It's Tawona Sitholé here, and I am part of the Glasgow team, the UNESCO team at the University of Glasgow, where we are part of the chair held by Professor Alison Phipps for refugee integration through languages and the arts. And yeah, what a better way to start than with a bit of multilingualism. So I am here today to invite you all to do something which I was born with. I was born with this ancestral name, but I want you to find your own. And the thing I love about this exercise, I put it together and it really fits in with the themes of our global summit, because it takes in so many elements about the person, the spirit, and nature. So yeah, I hope you can bring your adventurous spirit into this and bring your free mind into this. So we have to start with something to write with and something to write on. So I have chosen a purple sheet of paper. More colorful the better, right? So, and I'm going to use a pink pen. So just to give you a background, we have these ancestral names. You know, on my dad's side, it's the Ganyamatopé, which I spoke of. On my mom's side, it's Mbizi, who are the zebra family. So if you have this name, it means you're a natural custodian of what that animal represents. So there is praise poetry that comes with that. And there is also this duty to look after nature, you know, to look after the animal and its habitat and all that. So I am bringing this aspect of the praise poem because it brings so many things with it. So I'm going to invite you into that to make your own. This is the beauty of it, you know, to make your own. So let's just get into it, shall we? Yeah. So you have a piece of paper and I would like you have something to write with. So yeah, at this point, this is where you can pause and go and find a bit of paper and something to write with. So I am going to invite you to have, eventually we're going to have 5 circles on this piece of paper. So I think you can just write them in at the beginning. So you can draw these circles in any form you want. You can make them concentric, or you can dot them around the page. You can make them link up, it's up to you. So 5 circles, you can put them on at the beginning. So I'm going to put mine on now. So this is about praise poetry as a lifestyle, and also just looking at, you know, how we present ourselves, how we think. So I've got that, but you can make them concentric, you can make them join like the Olympic circles, whatever you come up with. It's all up to you. So, you know, also this could be important for us to think about how we, you know, we write bios. You know, for me as an artist, you know, I write my bio quite often. This can also help you write a more colorful bio, let's say. So now that we have these circles, I have taken 5 elements of the praise poem, which is called detembo, which we will put in the transcript for you to see the spelling of that. But I've taken 5 elements of that I would like to invite you to be part of. So now we've got our 5 circles. In the first circle, you think of your own name, what are called first names. Yeah. So, but not only your first name, also if you have some pet names, you know, the little names that your family might call you, or even nicknames. If you want to share those, please, you're welcome. I'm going to put one of mine so that, yeah, I'm being true to this. So pick any circle you want out of those 5 and put in all the names that you're called, you know, all the formal names, all the nicknames, all the pet names. So you put those in. So I'm going to put mine in. Okay, I should just say, you know, when you do this exercise, you won't get everything in the first time. When you write a few things down, the further you go, you remember certain things and you return. So just take your time with it. So this is what my first circle looks like. So you can see I've got Tawona, which I already said at the beginning. I have also Tawanda, which, so all these, everything you write down on this bit of paper has got a story behind it, you know. So who named you? How were you named? What was the choice? So for me, Tawona and Tawanda are 2 names that are actually in conflict with each other. The 2 people who named me, our elders name us normally, you know, a grandparent or some elder. And so the child is named usually after the umbilical cord falls off. Then the name of the child, the Rukuvute, the name of the child can be given. And then the elders do the rituals of taking the child and placing their feet and imprint in the earth and their hands too. And then even a little bit of soil on the tongue. So yeah, so for me, the 2 elders who were deciding to name me could not agree between Tawona and Tawanda. So the result is that, you know, Tawona went on my official registration. You know, this is what's on my birth certificate and on all my papers. But Tawanda, all my family call me Tawanda. So if you say Tawona, my family will wonder what you're talking about. So why this happened is, so one wants Tawona, one wants Tawanda. They can't agree. And then Tawona gets registered. I don't know what leverage came with that. But then the one who didn't get the way, who wanted Tawanda, insisted on calling me Tawanda. They wouldn't call me this other name. So because of that, this name stuck. So that's one of the story of these names. I also have Tennyson, which is quite interesting because my parents picked that name. There was a time, you know, when it was Rhodesia, you know, I'm from Zimbabwe, I should say. When it was called Rhodesia, you had to have an English name as part of your naming. This was part of the thing. So my parents chose this name, Tennyson, and then many years later, you know, it's a name of a poet laureate, you know, in the UK. And so now, for me, someone who works as a poet now, it's quite interesting what happens, sort of the prophetic thing with names as well. I'm sure you have your own stories that are similar. And then, because I live in Scotland now, I am called T. So it's a short kind of cheat that people use. Tawona being an unusual name for people here. Sometimes people kind of struggle with pronouncing it. So like T, you know, but it's kind of caught on. I am called Habibi by Tanim, my wife. I am Ganyamatopé, that's my ancestral name. And then I've just put this on here. I put Tweezer. When I was in high school, I had my growth spurt. So I was tall and skinny. And so Tweezer is a giraffe. So my schoolmates, kids are cruel. We all know this. I hope my pace is okay, by the way. I hope I'm not speaking too fast. So yeah, I was also called Tweezer. So I'm sure you have your own nicknames that you'll wrestle with. So there you go. That's the first circle. It's full of, conflict and prophetic things and, names that come from moving to different countries and ancestral names and love names and nicknames from your school days. So that's your first circle. And now we are going to pick the next circle to attack. So this circle, we are now thinking about I'd like to call them titles. I don't know if that's the right word, but it is the kind of the titles you have from your family connection. So for example, I'm a dad, I'm an uncle, I'm a son, I'm a grandson, I'm a nephew, I am a brother-in-law, I'm a son-in-law, all those kind of things. So think of all the titles you get from your family connections. You're an auntie, you're a mom, you're a daughter-in-law, you're an uncle, all those different titles. Just think about all your family and how you relate with them. That's the best way I can explain it. So pick any circle from those and put in as many of those as you can, which I am about to do for mine now. Second circle. I hope you've got lots in there. Don't worry about filling them, as I said, because you'll remember things. And when we're doing this together, the discussion also brings up things if you're doing it with a group of people. So it's always interesting that way. So here's my second circle. I've got at the top, I'm an uncle. I think this is quite relevant to me just now. So many big families, so many nieces and nephews, loads and loads of them. And yeah, I love spending time with young people because their minds are so free and imaginative, and they're full of ideas. So yeah, I'm an uncle to lots of young people. I'm Baba to my daughters. I'm Baba. So Baba is Shona for father. And I think in other languages you'll get that, Baba or Papa. I'm Mkwasha to the family I married into. So yeah, the Mkwasha, you're the one who gets sent to do all the chores. Mkwasha, go and chop the firewood. Mkwasha, lift that heavy thing. So it's a funny one, that one. So yeah, I'm Mkwasha to Tanim's family, my wife's family. I'm Mzaya. So you can see the multilingual aspect coming in here. So if you have your own other languages that you speak, please write in those languages too. It just makes it more interesting. So Muzaya is a grandchild. That's in Dao. I'm a child, to my mom, I'm still a child. I am Mkoma, and Mningina. Mkoma is an older sibling, and Mningina is a younger sibling. I'm a Handradzi. I'm a brother to my 5 sisters. I am Sekuru, which is also, I've repeated that. So Sekuru is also uncle. That's in Shona. I'm also a godfather, very exciting. I'm a godfather to 3 young people. My brother's 2 kids and one of my really close friends' son. So yeah, I'm a godfather too. Feels like I've got some power of some kind. So yeah, there you go. So there are so many of these. You'll have your own ones. And that's the second circle. So, we started from, the your own names, and then we're expanding out. So you are starting as an individual, but you are now connecting into your family. So it's getting exciting. You're expanding out. So third circle. So imagine for the third circle, imagine you're in your house. And at the beginning, you're sitting on your own. You're sitting on the sofa or wherever you're sitting on your own. And then your family came in. They were in the other rooms, yeah? They were like, oh, uncle, baba, And then now you are opening your front door and you're stepping into the world. So this third circle is, what are the things that you are known for in the world? What do you do in the world? How are you known in the world? This is what this third circle is about. So how are you known in the world? What are the things that you do in the world? So here we're looking at, your professional life, your hobbies, your life in the community, what that means. Some of us are, creative people, some of us are activists, some of us are, sports people. All those things are relevant here. And some of these will be also transient names. Someone gave me that word. I really like it because I guess we move from job to job, right? We move from situations to situations. So these ones, in comparison to the previous 2 circles, some of these names could be transient, and some of them are emerging as well as we pick up new hobbies and new interests and new vocations. So let's get into the third circle. Pick anyone you want and put all those things in. Okay, I've already filled my circle, but there's more I could have written in here. But it's just for us to get an idea, yeah? So this now is my third circle here. I'm trying to get the mirror image of this right. Okay, this is my third circle. So what you've got now, how am I known in the world? So I'm known as a poet and a storyteller too. And I have to mention my grandmothers here who in Zimbabwe, the stories, the ngano, held in the very safe hands of our grandmothers, who we just call Ambuya. So yeah, I need to acknowledge our elders for the many witty, funny, serious, epic stories that I grew up with that are influencing a lot of my performance and creative work now. I'm an academic. I work in research and yeah, so there's the academic in me, which is a learning process. I'm a playwright. So I tell stories in many mediums, and I love playwriting because it's also a learning journey for me. Currently working on a play at the moment, which is very exciting. And it's collaborative, I love the creative process because it's collaborative. When you write the play, someone else has to come and direct it. Someone else has to do the sound. Someone has to do the reading. The dramaturg has to ask questions about, how the story is sitting, all that stuff. So yeah, it's a very exciting process. So I'm a playwright. I'm a musician. You heard me right at the opening. So that was me playing. Musician, put that in there. I've also put in a name that I was given by my team in Glasgow. I am known as a conversationista. I think because I'm too chatty or something. So they kind of, yeah, they kind of, tease me with that one. So I love talking. I am a chess player when I get the chance. I play a bit of chess. I'm also a football player, a professional. I'm joking. I play five-a-side to keep myself fit, just watching as my daughters are growing older, I'm thinking to myself, oh, I want to be fit in my older age so I can do things with them. Yeah. So football. I think it's important to keep fit, yeah. Just looking after ourselves, as in looking after our planet, a fit people for a fit planet. They have coined something. I am a neighbor. There you go. That's my favorite one, probably, all that, I'm a neighbor. So yeah, I mean, you'll have your own ones, plenty of those. But yeah, I love being a neighbor because you're part of a community, you look out for each other, and it's sort of family that you come to because of where you move to live. And of course, you have to engage with the community that you live in. So that is a version of the third circle. I hope we're all doing okay with this. And as I said before, you can keep coming back to these. So fourth circle. It's getting close to the crescendo. So fourth circle, this one is a very busy circle. So if by size, if you want to pick the biggest circle that's left. So here we want to think about two things. I've put these together for a reason, because I think they're connected. I mean, we could have had 6 circles, but in the fourth circle, I want us to think about the languages that are in our lives. So languages that we speak, our dear people speak, languages that you are learning or languages that you're interested in, any languages that you have a connection with of some kind. So those are languages, but alongside that, we also want to think about lands, bits of the planet that we associate ourselves with. So this might be the land where you were born, the land where you live now, or if you live where you were born, it will be the same, or places you visited that have made a big impact on you. It might be places that you wish you could visit. So any, however big or small it might be, you might name a country or you might name a specific place within a country. It's all up to you. So this is lands and languages that we have some affiliation or affection for. So that is our fourth circle, lands and languages. So this circle is very interesting because in the poetry, in the original poetry that I am adapting this from, there is also a description as well as, naming names and qualities of your, genealogy. You look at also, there is some migration that is talked about, if where your people moved from and where they went and settled. So that is an element that comes in here. So lands and languages. Okay, so there is my fourth circle down here. So yeah, this one is this one makes us think of our father tongues and other languages we're learning. And so I've put Shona, my mother tongue. I've put Ndau, that's from my father's family. I've put of the Zimbabwean languages. Oh, I've just remembered one language I want to put down here. This happens. Yeah. So I've put down Shona and Ndau, and then I've put in the Zimbabwean context, I've put Ndebele. It's one of the major languages, but because when I was going to school, you learned the language of your kind of region that you were in. And there's something interesting that I speak very little of one of the other major languages. And it's something that kind of fuels a disconnection between people. And I find that interesting that if we had learned more languages, we would have had more of a connection between each other. So yeah, I think of, some of the conflict that happens because, people identify themselves with language. And when I think of the language of UNESCO, the construction of peace in people's minds is where, things should begin. If we know that conflict begins also in the minds of people. So yeah, I mean, languages play a big role in how people identify themselves and sometimes close themselves in. So yeah, I made a note of that. It's one of the languages I wish I spoke better. And I put Arabic because my wife's family are Arabic speakers. And I've put Akan because in our team, we have our Ghanaian friends, so they speak the Akan languages of Ghana. I've put the Netherlands as a land there because in our team, we're often talking to our colleague Bella, and she's from the Netherlands. So we're hearing about the Netherlands quite often. I put the US, another colleague is from the US. Oh, I put French as well, a language I wish I'd learned. I put Arabic. Sorry, I'm jumping between languages and lands, but it's okay. I put sign language. I really want to learn sign language, and just for some reason, I've just not been able so far, but I really want to learn it. And I'm very glad that in Zimbabwe, we have 16 languages in total that are officially recognized. And there are 15 oral languages and sign languages is named. So yeah, I'm going to continue this mission. Next time you see me, ask me, Tawona, how are you doing with sign language? And I need to give you a good answer. I put Gaelic in Scotland. Gaelic is quite an important language. One of the older languages spoken here. So there's a revival of people relearning, and if people didn't meet it as they were growing up, I know a lot of people are going back to that language because it kind of connects to the land in some really interesting ways. There's a great phrase I heard the other time being used of language springing from the land, and I love that. So Gaelic is in my heart too. Te Reo Maori, we have a lot of friends in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And Te Reo Maori is a language that I hear often. I love the language because I think it's very poetic too. And the land, I have put Zimbabwe, of course, the land where I was born and grew up in. And I have put Scotland, the country I live in and I love. And I have also put Africa as a big landmass. And the Africa thing is quite funny because there is something about being African, right? This thing always happens, you know, African. It's something that I describe myself as and I'm described as. And the thing I want to say is, I think I find this funny. I laugh at myself because there is this thing that goes on. Africans, we complain, yeah, that, oh, people treat Africa as a country, you know, like, you know, no one will ever go to France and say they went to Europe. They'll say, I went to France, right? For example. But then, you know, whilst we complain, we also love it. We also love just being, I'm African, that's it, you know, so it's funny. Anyway, so I put Africa as something, you know, deeply spiritual about that landmass, that continent. I put Bahrain, where my wife's family are from. And yeah, I've already told you about Netherlands and the US. So there's a lot that you can get from this. And yeah, those connections, sort of old and new, you know, and of course there are new lands that are going to appear on this list. If you ask me a year from now, maybe I'll have gone somewhere else exciting. So yes, and we are, guess what, we're at our final circle. This is probably my favorite one and also very relevant for our summit and the work we're doing together. So now the fifth circle is simply, this is nature now. And, you know, I talked about the detembo. And so we have these names. When I introduced myself, I used the name Ganyamatopé, which is the mutupo, or some might call it a totem name or a symbolic name. So here we return to nature. And the philosophy of my ancestors is that we are all part of nature. So nature is this one big, you know, connected entity. And I think it helps humans to remind ourselves from time to time that we are part of nature. Nature is not our backdrop, you know, to build things and waste and pollute and all that. So because we embody, like for me on my mom's side, we embody the Mbizi as you know, as part of our identity. So we have a way into thinking about the caretaking of that. So yeah, so this is a very important element, and I've put it at the end for that reason. And so in here, I want you to all, this is my big invitation as well, because of course I was born with this system already there, or this naming system, but I'm inviting you into this. So this is exciting. So I want you to think about things in nature that you feel a connection to, an affinity for, you know, a love for, that kind of thing. So maybe you like animals, maybe you like certain places in nature, maybe you like a feel or something. It all goes in here. So anything to do with nature that you feel a connection with, it goes in here. Okay, so I'm going to show you my fifth circle. So please, if you're watching this, you can pause and, you know, do it, take your time with it. But yeah, just for the sake of us to keep moving for now, I have my 5th circle completed. So I have started with mist or mute, as we call it. And next to that is mountains, Makomo. So yeah, I love that. There is something magical about mist, how it kind of rests or floats on, just above the earth. And yeah, Makomo, I put them in the mountains. I put Kamba. Kamba is a tortoise. I love this little animal that carries its house on its back and takes its time and lives a very long age. And we call it slow, but I'm sure in its own mind, it's not slow at all. It's going at its natural pace. So I love Kamba. I put Masango, the forests. We say in Zimbabwe, we say Masango anoera. The forests are sacred. And we don't mean anything supernatural by that. We just mean the forests, undisturbed. They still do what they do. So yeah, there's something interesting about humans having enough. We've created enough space to build our homesteads and our farming spaces. So why not let the forest just, grow naturally? So yeah, I put Mchakata, which is a particular tree that is important to our elders. It's the tree for sort of communing, sitting underneath that tree, meditating. If you're doing offerings or prayers, you can do it under that tree, Mchakata. But Mchakata represents trees because, of course, trees. I think on the Mbira, there's a song called Nemam Sasa, and that song it's a deeply spiritual song, but the idiom of the song is also part of the idiom of the song is questioning the idea of cutting trees. It's a strange thing, yeah. It's like cutting your own oxygen supply. Every time you take an axe to a tree, you're cutting off some oxygen supply. So it's funny. Yeah, so trees, I mean, life source. Let's look after them. So Mchakata is representing trees in general. I love trees. And I've also put Betepesu, the gentle butterfly. Betepesu. Just yeah, something magical about it. And it reminds me of when it's summertime here and my daughters are chasing butterflies in the garden. It's beautiful moments. So there you are. This is what the full page looks like. So I look forward to seeing your own versions of this. And so the last thing I'll just ask you to do is once you have all this written down, this is an epic poem. I mean, you can keep it on a wall or something and keep adding to it. So what then you do is you make these kind of declarations. I don't know if it's called a declaration or a pronouncement or an affirmation. You say, for example, I'm just going to take one thing from each circle to give you an example. So I am Tawona. I am playwright. I am Baba. I am Mist. I am Netherlands. So there is this kind of performance of the poetry. I am these things. So you can do it in many different combinations, or you can do all of them. You can do an epic poem. So that is the performative part of it. And yeah, so that's the spoken part of it. We were just kind of jotting this down to set us up. So there you are. I hope you enjoyed this journey and you enjoy continuing working on your detembo redzinza. So I am Ganyamatopé, saying to you all, Hekani, which is my way of saying, see you soon, hopefully. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the summit and take care. Hekani.